All right. Thanks very much, everybody. We are going to call, I'm going to call this meeting to order at 6:01. My apologies. We're starting us off a little bit late. I'm sure everybody's been watching the news from Washington. Very exciting.
That's an interesting word.
Very exciting. Very exciting. Many telephone calls. And so I'm going to call the roll. Commissioner Cahill,
Here.
Commissioner Elkin,
Here.
Commissioner Engarth.
Here.
I'm sorry, we thought we were going to see you in person. Commissioner Goldberg. Here. Commissioner Green. Here. Commissioner Heavenridge.
Here.
Commissioner Lago. Commissioner McKenzie. Here. Commissioner Poles.
Here.
All right, I haven't heard from Sarah, so perhaps the traffic was terrible on the way.
Yes, it's worse than usual.
Yeah,
So-
it really was. All right, thank you, everybody, for being here. And in terms of announcements, you see in the agenda packets that we have made sure that it's a lot of us. All right. You've seen in the packet that we called forth our resolutions that we have adopted in the past about equity, diversity, inclusion, about making sure that our underserved populations and all of our overserved populations are all recognized. And so we wanted to make sure that we reaffirm that because of so many conversations that are happening. So I just wanted to make sure that we looked at them again and made sure that they were front and center in our conversations today. Not that there's no agenda item, but and we can certainly put an agenda item on for future meetings if additional things happen in Washington, which they will. But I think just knowing that we have a strong background in inclusivity is something that we wanted to make very clear tonight. So, and also California, we're very lucky to be in California. Tony Thurmond, the state superintendent of schools, made sure that he responded to the Department of Education's statement that they were going to be taking DEI language off out of the grants and off the website in Washington. And Mr. Thurmond said, we're still committed in California. So I think that that's important to note as well. And then, and there's more announcements. Usually, in my experience, we have not talked about task forces and committee assignments on a formal agenda. So I wanted to just say that we've had conversations, and now that Commissioner Poles is here, it's a good time to create some of those task force formally. So and perhaps liaisons. And so we have talked about a capital projects, and I'll put this in writing also so that everybody sees it. But capital projects, Commissioner Elkin has agreed to be the chair of that, and Commissioners Goldberg, Heavenridge, Cahill are interested in serving on that committee as well. We want to have a JPA review, and Commissioner Lagos has agreed to chair that. Commissioner Engarth, Commissioner Green, Commissioner McKenzie, and I would like to serve on that one as well. We have the Director Evaluation Committee, which at the moment consists of myself, Commissioner Elkin, and Commissioner Green. And on finance, again, we have Barbara, Andy, myself, David, and Tina. We are all serving on the finance committee. And if we think we need additional committees, they're task forces right now. I think that if we decide they're going to be committees, the task forces can have those discussions, but right now they don't need multiple staff members to staff them, and task forces don't necessarily need to be recorded for the first couple of times. I think that's something that Jeff Mitchell will talk to us about as well. So at any rate, thank you all very much for being interested. Yes, Commissioner Cahill.
Could you send out a memo to
Yes.
us with the membership plus the charge for each task force and committee, what they're supposed to do?
I think part of that is going to come from the task forces, but yes, as a generic statement,
Right.
we will certainly include, I'll certainly include that.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. I don't think there are any more announcements. Public appearances. Do we have any members of the public?
There are no members of the public remotely or in person.
Could you say that again? I couldn't hear that.
There are no members of the public remotely or
Thank you.
in person.
Thank you. Well, if they do appear, do let me know so that I can make sure that I call on them. All right, that we have no actions, action items for resolution. There are no presentations. So we are heading into library report.
Good evening. I don't have too much to add to my report other than two announcements. February is Library Lovers Month, so I hope you will show your appreciation and love for the library in however way you choose, but letting staff know how much you appreciate them is always beneficial. The other thing I would like to talk about is it totally went out of my head. There's something else. I'm sure it'll come to me. The Santa Rosa Symphony Orchestra, the Santa Rosa Symphony Partnership, very successful. I don't know if any of you were able to attend the events, but it was a really lovely thing to see, and we hope to continue that onwards. And that was sponsored by the Library Foundation. So between the Santa Rosa Symphony and the Library Foundation, we were able to provide 7 concerts at 6 different locations.
Any questions?
Thank you. I noticed under capital improvement projects, we have a construction target date for Petaluma. I wondered if we have a target date for Hillsborough.
Do we have a target date for Hillsborough?
Still mid-May, same, almost the same. I don't have the specific date on it. But
Mid-May.
Well, mid-May, so right about the same time. Okay. And then I noticed that our actual circulation's actually down, which kind of surprised me. And visits are down and even new patrons are down a little bit, so I don't know.
This is a December report, and typically December is required among the libraries, because families, children are not in school and people are, visiting, so we could look at previous Decembers to see if that's trend.
Well, we're even down from last December, so anyway, I always feel really good about our growing numbers. Anyway. And
Also
then-
Petaluma and Healdsburg were closed. so
Yeah, that's true.
That certainly
That's a
has a
good
major
point.
impact, yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Sorry,
good
didn't mean to
point.
interrupt.
And, thanks very much. Yeah.
All right, then I do not see anyone from a lab, from the foundation, or from the Friends group. No, okay, moving on to the consent calendar. These matters include routine financial and administrative actions that may be approved by consensus. Any commission member or member of the public may request that an item be removed from the calendar and have it placed with the action items. The commission will approve the minutes of the prior meetings in summary format. Does anybody wish to? Yes, Commissioner McKenzie.
Just a question, rather than pull it, if I could get an answer, I will pull it. 8.2, the changing of the 3 next or the March and April meetings to central. Is that just a temporary for those 3? Or are we talking further apart?
Thus far, it's just for those 2. And see, is it 3? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, just for those 3. Okay, and you see how it goes, and if we like it, then we can maybe consider it later.
The proposal is to move it to headquarters. Central.
Oh, good point.
Oh, thank you.
But we're not talking about moving meetings to headquarters.
It's just for these 3 days.
Just 3. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Don't need to-
I also have a question, not necessarily looking to remove an item. This is about 8.4, and I guess it would be directed to Dave. Sorry, it wasn't clear to me from the plans and everything that I could link to. The restroom remodeling, are these going to be non-gendered things?
These will be great question. These will be the second branch that has gender neutral restrooms.
I'm so glad to hear that. Appreciate that. I just couldn't find it anywhere. Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Elkins, since you were last to speak, I'm going to ask you for a motion to approve.
I move that we approve
I second it.
of the items in the consent calendar.
Thank you. And we have a second from Commissioner Engbarth.
Yes.
All right. Further discussion? No hands. All right. Commissioner Cahill.
Yes.
Commissioner Elkins.
Yes.
Commissioner Engbarth.
Yes.
Commissioner Goldberg.
Yes.
Commissioner Green.
Yes.
Commissioner Heavenridge.
Yes.
Commissioner Lagos.
Yeah.
Commissioner McKenzie.
Yes.
Commissioner McPoles.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Now we're moving into action items by motion, and 9.1 is a reclassification of a library associate position at Kernville Library. Do you want to walk us through it?
Can you hear me? Barbara Mays, Public Services Division Manager. Pleasure to be here. Chair Doyle, Director DeBow, Commission. I'm here with the draft motion. The Sonoma County Library Commission approved the reclassification for one full-time library associate into two positions, one a part-time library specialist for Guerneville and a part-time librarian 1/2 for the Forestville Occidental Guerneville Library. I didn't know how much I wanted to get into it. So the Guerneville Regional Library oversees Forestville and Occidental, as you know. And we've had some vacancies come up that we haven't had in a very long time. So if you remember, I was here last meeting, I believe, where we combined the two positions into one librarian 3 position for Occidental and Forestville. So we recently had a full-time library associate position become vacant. And we do see the need for someone to be able to go out to the roles, and the library associate cannot. So if we have a librarian, they're able to go help with those locations, and then also opening up a specialist position opens up an entry level position for somebody potentially in West County to be able to have. So we're kind of creating more of a potential to enter the library. It just created a leadership position out there. So we are making sure that we still have the same amount of FTE by combining the 2 into 1 and now separating it to 2. It comes out kind of flush.
Commissioner McKenzie.
Yes, thank you. I could see it'd be quite difficult to staff these libraries out there. What are I know the hours at Guerneville, Forestville are very limited, working around the school and stuff. What are the hours for Occidental and, Occidental?
So they're both open 6 days a week. They're closed on Sundays, and they are open for.
Oh, they both are, okay. And are they different?
So Occidental has more availability to be open, so about half the time they're open in the mornings and the other half, give or take, is night. So 2 to 6 or 10 to 2, and Forestville is primarily 3 to 7 because of the school hours, and then on the week, on Saturday, 10 to 2. And we do look at maybe moving those around at some point in the future, because we do know that high school has become more a charter school and offering school in a, they're at a time of change. So I do think there's opportunity in the future to talk about opening that area with some different hours.
Any other questions? Speaking of schools, do you think, and this may not fit right here, but will the discussion of which schools close, which schools, do you think that's gonna have an impact on these libraries?
I mean, it's hard to tell at this moment, they're schools in the Guerneville area,
Right.
schools, especially annually, and we have the charter. So it's hard to tell what they're gonna do, but I don't think it will affect. But we do a lot of work in schools.
Okay, thanks. Do I have a motion?
Second.
I'm sorry, who was first? Great, thanks. Sarah, you get that? Fabulous. All right. Any other further discussion? Okay. Commissioner Cahill,
Yes.
Commissioner Elkin,
Yeah.
Commissioner Ambrose,
yes,
Gilbert,
Yes.
Commissioner Green. Yes. Commissioner Heavenridge,
Yes.
Wago,
Yes.
Kennedy. Yes. Mr. Poles.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. And now 9.2, we're going to look at the 24-25 mid-year review as of December. And the Finance Committee has certainly had a chance to take a look at it. So if you want to summarize, that's fine.
Good evening, Commissioners. I am presenting the mid-year review, which is an analysis of the first 6 months for the current fiscal year. And it is a forecast on how we will end the fiscal year and make any recommendations for adjustment. This is a reminder that our budget is aligned with the vision and the goals in the reimagining plan. And this analysis looks at 3 components to visit the financial status of the library and make some budget, recommend some budget adjustments. And first is for the projections for revenues and expenditures to year end, June 30th, 2025, a financial health check. To look at current revenues, expenditures, cash balance, and fund balance, and also a look ahead on how we can stay on track with our financial position. The library has a healthy financial position. It has resilient operations, and our expenditures are within budget. We have a healthy cash and fund balances. We've had clean audit, and we have controls and policies that are in place that we review regularly for best practices. And also, we have a fully funded stabilization fund. Since we've had volatile revenue experience over the last year, and we continue to have that experience this year, I did want to hone in on our revenues over the last few years. The projections show that we will have flat revenue into the next budget year, and this mid-year review, we do use this mid-year review as a pivot and a springboard for the next budget year. And so this slide shows the actual revenues year over year. And since its inception, the library has increased its revenues by approximately $3.5 million, which is estimated in 2025. And property tax over the same period increased $8.7 million. What is more interesting is the next slide that I want to draw your attention, that when we look at revenues for the last 3 years, the rate of increase or the change in revenue year over year has decreased in property tax and sales tax. So you can see that at the inception of the pandemic, which was in 2019 to 2020, the library lost $800,000 at that point. But with government relief payments, consumers returned or exceeded pre-pandemic purchasing levels, which helped our sales tax revenue. So it peaked during the pandemic in 2021. That was the highest point that we've had in tax revenue change. And then in 2022, consumers reduced spending because of high inflation. And the federal interest rates increased to control inflation. And as a result, consumers reduced spending. And when consumers reduce spending, they pay less sales tax. And consumer behavior is reflected in this chart. As you can see, through 2024, there's been a trend of decreasing and a slight increase estimated in this fiscal year. In terms of projections for our revenue, property tax is projected to meet our approved budget levels of 27.8 million. And in December, the library received approximately $15.7 million, which is 56% of the approved property tax budget. And the next installment is due in April. Under sales tax, as of December, we received 4 months of sales tax revenue. And my analysis reviewing receipts over the last 3 years, my forecast is that we could be approximately $100,000 short compared to the approved budget. That is 0.01% variance, which I know is modest, but I did want to make note of this to the commission. And however, when we look at interest earned on our cash balances through December, we've received $324,000 or 90% of our target. If all things remain the same, the interest for the next 6 months is forecasted to offset the loss in sales tax. Under expenditures, we will be within budget. Benefits are budgeted at the high end to ensure benefits are fully covered. Supplies are nearly at 50%. And staff is asking or requesting 2 budget adjustments here that total $167,382. It's a combination of rebudgeting or rolling over funds from last year for purchases of books and our BiblioCommons project. So just to recap, we will be within budget for revenues and expenditures by year end. And we have a healthy cash balance with a combined of $41 million and a combined fund balance of $21 million, with property tax at $12.2 million and sales tax of approximately $8.8 million. With that, I'll take any questions.
Any questions? All right, then do I have a motion?
Motion to pass this draft.
I'll second it.
All right, we've got a first and a second. Then I will call the roll. Commissioner Cahill.
Yes.
Commissioner Elkin.
Yes.
Commissioner Engberg.
Yes,
Commissioner Goldberg.
Yes.
Commissioner Green.
Yes.
Commissioner Heavenridge.
Yes.
Commissioner Lagos.
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie.
Yes.
Commissioner Polls.
Yes.
Excellent. Hey, thanks very much.
Sure. I had a question and I didn't get to ask it before we went into the vote. It won't change my vote, but on page 78 of your report, under background information, the approved fiscal, the first paragraph under background, the approved fiscal year 2024-25 total capital budget was $650,783. And on page 51, probably read this wrong, but anyway. Never mind. I had mine.
Did we talk about it in the finance committee? Okay,
It's just a different number. This is the capital expenses as opposed to the.
perhaps we can talk about it perhaps in the finance committee meeting next. Thank you. All right, then. 9.3, moving down to Q2 capital projects update and request.
This is the, according to our capital budgeting procedure, staff come to the finance committee as well as the commission on a quarterly basis to give you an update on capital project. For the second quarter ending December 31, staff is requesting additional release of funds as discussed in the report. And the release of funds are for the facilities division, a total of $552,012. And these are summarized in attachment A, specifically for the project of Cloverdale, history and genealogy, and Guerneville. Guerneville is a new item where staff is asking to release the library matching funds from the Building Forward grant. As you can remember, a year ago in January of last year, the commission set aside the portion of matching funds for this grant program. And Guerneville will start working on this project and will be charging the library for its share of the cost of the project. So we're asking to release those funds.
Any questions? Comments? Okay. Do I have a motion?
I move that the Sonoma County Library Commission approve the attached resolution, and authorize the library to complete the accounting transaction.
Thanks. All right. Excellent. I do have one question, and I should know this because I'm on the legislative committee with you. Is the building, is any of that federal dollars? Did it
No,
come
this
through
is
the
what-
state
well,
library and then
It came through the state library, but the money has already been.
we've already got the money?
passed, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So I understand that the county has received the first allotment of the grant fund.
Great. Just in the future, we may be worrying about federal dollars and what we can say. Then Barbara moved, Commissioner McKenzie moved, and I'm sorry, Commissioner Green seconded. No further discussion. So Commissioner Cahill,
Yes.
Commissioner Elfin,
Yes.
Commissioner Engelhardt.
I have a question about the motion itself. On a technical basis that Jeff might need to come in and give us his wisdom on. But it seems to me that there's two matters discussed in this one motion. There's the material on the construction, which is part of it. But then we have all those attachments for diversity and reaffirming all of those. And it seems that those are substantively two different items.
That you're thinking of like the single subject rule that applies
Right.
to state action. That
Yeah.
doesn't really apply at the local level. There's no general single subject rule that applies. They are related. And so my sense when I read through it was that I thought they were sufficiently related in any event. But you could certainly break it into two motions if that would be preferable.
Okay, then I'll vote yes.
So we have a motion on the floor.
Now,
Yes.
my motion was only on the page 78 as.
You had a question?
The resolution.
Hang on. We were in the middle of a vote and I understand you had a question. Did I not see your hand up, Commissioner Engelhardt?
Yes, I'm voting yes.
Okay. Commissioner Goldberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Evanridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Lagos,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Poole.
Yes.
All right, it's unanimous. Now, what was your question, Commissioner McKenzie?
I was just trying to clarify, my motion was only about the financial transactions. I think there's a little confusion that all the documentation about our DEI support was not part of that. If I understood what you said.
This is all the sheet you after, he got some notes completed.
Right.
Yeah. Can we ask where this documentation is, Andy?
Do you have your, yeah,
Can we ask where this documentation that you're referencing, Andy, and I can't find it, where we're referencing?
Chair report.
Page 81 and follow. Page.
the budget increase?
It's just the formal resolution that we're voting to approve. I don't
Page
see what,
83 is the second group of things. It's a totally separate item.
this is a totally separate item, yeah.
And my motion was the first, was
Right.
the item on 78.
But the information on pages 82 and page 82 and 81 and 80 seems to relate specifically to the item described on 78 and 79. We don't see what additional item is being,
Commissioner Engelbart is referring to the chair report on page 83, which is item 13.1.1. It's a separate item.
separate item. Yes, okay, thank you.
So we approved it, we're good, okay. Now I'm looking. Okay, so item 10, discussion. I don't believe there is additional discussion. So then we're going to move into our closed session.
Comment about the chair report?
About the which one?
Comment about your chair report?
We're not there yet.
We're not there yet.
Oh,
That's after the closed session. Yeah. Okay. You're not.
Is Suzanne staying?
No.
sorry, Andy, I gave you the wrong page number.
Hmm?
83, not 81.
So Chair Doyle, I see there are two closed session items. I see there are two closed session items. The first is the public employee performance
Oh,
evaluation.
golly, I'm sorry. You are staying, aren't
That's,
you?
that's the title library director. And then the second
Oh,
one
sorry. I thought we
is
were first.
conference with labor negotiator, unrepresented
You can-
employee library director.
So sorry.
So it seems like she,
No, the public union.
So my interpretation is there's two items. The
They're
first is the evaluation and the second is,
The union.
no, this is a library director. This is pertaining to me. So maybe Jeff can weigh.
It's both about you, so you can go. Yeah.
Okay, it's a little hard to hear was there a question for me?
Yes. However, you all wanna, do we need to see, Jeff, you're here, Fred, you're here. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're, yeah, we're moving into a closed session, right? So you all don't stay for the closed session. Yeah, that's what we thought, all right. Sorry about that. And we're not recording, right? Just
Stevie consider. There we go.
Back.
Yes. There's.
Oh.
It's not his, it's just information. Especially the advice. But is it then? Yeah.
All right, we're gonna call the meeting to order again. Gonna call this meeting to order again. So we just finished with the closed session on 11. There was no action after that item. So we're reconvening our open session. Moving down to 13, commission liaison reports. And I have just a small thing to add to my report. I will be in Washington, DC at our next commission meeting. The state librarians flying into Washington to talk to legislators, particularly the ones on the appropriations committee. And so I've been invited to go and we'll call in to the commission meeting, but very exciting. Does anyone?
Just comment to you. I'm sure you know this, but, you know, McGuire is there, but Dodd's gone, and it's Chris Cabaldon. This is,
Oh, that's right.
and then, as far as I know, Levine is gone. And so Damon Conley took Levine's place.
Thank you.
Just FYI. Thanks. I'm sure you know.
Anybody have any additions to their commissioner reports? Any comments on the commissioner reports? Okay.
And then Chair Doyle, did you want to talk about the resolutions that were attached to your report?
I probably at the beginning of it.
Okay.
And if we want to reapprove, we want to put an action item on the agenda either next month or after we see what's going on in the state or in the country, we can certainly do that to reaffirm them. But I think that our sense today is that we have reaffirmed them, even if we haven't taken a formal commission action, but we can certainly do that as well. So. Anything on the finance committee? Should we need to add anything to the finance committee, Barbara? No, thank you. Any questions? Finance committee or the foundation liaison report? Yes.
Quick question about that. Because this came up earlier, that they've raised $3.6 million in support of Roseland. That includes those major gifts, right? From the casino, from the tribe. Like they haven't raised this money from the public.
Well, see the public.
Well, so what am I trying to say?
I'm not sure that's.
Well, that's what I wondered, like, Where,
The goal is to raise 3.6. They haven't yet raised 3.6.
so I asked that question also because I went to their meeting and then met.
Get your butt.
I went to that meeting and then also met with somebody from the foundation after, because as you did, they want to meet with all the commissioners. And I asked that because I was confused, because you hear about the 3.5 and the 3.6 and what, and so, the 3.5 from the Grayton people is nothing to do with what you're seeing right here in this piece about the 3.6. They've got $1 million something of the 3.6 that they have to do. 3.5 from Grayton, totally separate. And that was going to FF&E, but that is now going to construction, and that is over there, and this is separate. So this is a new goal of 3.6 more million dollars.
It's just, it's not, a great thing is a separate gift.
Yeah.
It's not.
Right, but
It's not a new goal. It's been their long-term goal, and they are in their second year. So they have about, I want to say it's like 1.7 is what they've raised. So they have an additional, I forget, I can't do the math in my head, but their total goal is 3.6.
at 1.9, so.
Ambitious, but they're working hard.
Okay.
Any other questions? Right. We've got an historic records commission. Any questions on that? No? All right, any new business, old business? Yeah, I do have a question for old business and new business, there's nothing, and then we're moving to agenda items for future. Yeah.
Well, I didn't get in there fast enough in the question about the Historical Records Commission, but that's actually a county commission, because they were meeting without a quorum. And after we've just gotten our new directive, I mean, it looks like to me, I mean, you were there, that all this business happened and clearly states there's no quorum. What they said at the beginning of their meeting was that they couldn't vote on anything without a quorum, but that they could meet. Maybe it's, I don't know why, I don't know why, I noticed it. Maybe it's because they're not legislative, I mean, I don't know why, but they seem to know what they were doing and discussed it. I don't know the answer.
Just noticed it.
Yeah.
All right, any agenda items for future commission meetings? Yeah, Commissioner.
I wonder if we could think about a way to support libraries that were lost in the fires and just, I have no more information, ideas than that, but just thunder.
Do you want to hear about it, or do you want to know how to make a donation? Because there are plenty of places you can make a donation.
I wondered more about not me personally making a donation, which I've already done. I'm wondering if there's any place for us as a commissioner supporting another library system. So it's more, it's not me personally, it's more that. I don't know if it's appropriate, but I just wondered if we could.
It's a great question. The California Library Association has ways that people can help, and the American Library Association also. And then there's a Southern California authors group. If you'd like some information, we can certainly get that out. And then if it's in the commission agenda, commission meeting notes, more people will have it. We can even probably put something on the website with that.
Yeah, we can do that.
We help, I think, Paradox didn't burn down, but the library community is very good at trying to.
And our foundation, the library foundation is taking up that issue too.
Other agenda items for future? Okay, seeing none, then we will meet on Wednesday, March 5th, and this is going to be
At headquarters.
Not going to be TBD, it's going to be at the headquarters. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Any improvements? I think we'll call it unanimous. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your it's in the pot. Thanks, Andy.